What's up guys, welcome back to another video on the channel, and in today's video we're going to just be going over everything that's really been happening in the market the past couple days. It has been insane, Monday morning, I'm sure we all had woke up with just a huge slap to our face, we're all very hyped, we're still in the bull run obviously, but on Monday, geez, if you're an Nvidia holder, obviously you know what I mean, but many other stocks had just been hit hard just based on just fear and just everything in general, not just the deep seek, but like everything in general has there's been many components, but I want to go over like what's going on, what's going on with Nvidia, what's going on with, big tech companies, the Mag 7, earnings coming up, and things like SoFi, for example. I want to go over like their earnings, why did they drop on earnings, and why am I still bullish on the stock. So I'm not going to be wasting any of your time. Let's just get straight into it. So obviously, I'm sure you heard of the DeepSeek, dispute with Nvidia. Not really a dispute, but basically China had came up with their own large language model that was people are calling it similar to OpenAI's, ChatGPT, and it was trained with much less money, and only $6 million, and only took them a couple months to do, when in America it took us billions upon billions of dollars. And people are like, oh my gosh, this shows that they didn't even use the Nvidia H100 chips as they say, but they were able to achieve all of this. So how did they do it? Does this mean that, and this must mean that Nvidia is so crappy, compared to whatever they got in China, right? But I don't think this is the case. First of all, when I heard the number, there was only $6 million that was put into this project. I was like, really? I was like, that must be some kind of joke. And it only took them a couple months. I'm like, huh? So and my parents are even telling me about this because it was so popular on the news. Everyone's talking about, even YouTubers who are not even financial YouTubers, right? They were talking about it, but yeah, so basically it was a lie, and the 6 million was not accurate, obviously, and I predicted that. And yeah, so I think what it meant was that the 6 million was like how much they spent in like the finalization steps of it. I think that's what I heard. But yeah, so they did spend a lot more money, and they said they didn't use the H100 chips. They only used the H800 chips, which are the less good chips. But I think that was also a lie, and I think they did catch that. I think I read it. Yeah, that they did use the H100 chips, but they just weren't allowed to say it, obviously, because it's banned in China because of certain things in trade. But yeah, I think what they did was they did like somehow smuggle in, from other countries the the H100 chips, and that's how they did it. But nevertheless, though, I am not saying that what DeepSeek did is all completely just stupid, and it's like it's all a lie, because it is a great platform. If you go on the app yourself, you can see that it runs very similarly to ChatGPT, and it's a very intelligent large language model. So I'm definitely not denying that. I'm definitely giving them credit. But there is some things that I do want to bring to your attention, such as first of all, the app itself. So if we go on my phone, as you can see, I go to the app. This is the DeepSeek app, right? Like, I just opened it, and look what it says. It says, welcome to DeepSeek. Thank you for using it. Please read and fully understand the terms of use and privacy policy before clicking agree, right? So you can either press agree or disagree, right, to their privacy policy. And it literally says, we will use your personal information in accordance to the agreed terms and service. I'm like, what? You can download the app yourself. It literally says, we will use your personal information. And look, if I push disagree, look what happens. Oh, it just turns off the app. Look, if I don't want to accept their privacy policy, oh, it turns off the app. And listen, I'm not like a big conspiracy theorist, but if China was wanting to steal our information, this would be like the perfect plan. Like, I'm telling you, the DeepSeek app, it became the number one. I think it's still the number one app on the App Store. At least it was on Monday. At least it was for sure on Monday. I could check. Yup, it's still the top app on the App Store, top free app. So that's funny to see. So if you wanted to steal the information of people living in America, wouldn't you want to make a huge deal about, and make up some kind of scheme saying that, oh, I spent so much less than you on this amazing product, and get it to the number one app on the App Store, just so you can make sure that, everyone has to agree to your terms and service. And think about this is this is like an AI model. People type in like questions they have and like things about their life. Like this is, I'm sorry, but this is like a great way to steal someone's information. I'm not a big conspiracy theorist. Like, people were saying like, oh, TikTok's stealing your information, China steal. I don't honestly, I don't think TikTok realistically is trying to steal anyone. I don't think that's like a scheme, right? Like I think TikTok is honestly, it's fine, the way it is. But like this DeepSeek thing, I really have some suspicions. Anyways, other than that, I wanted to bring up this point. So I had read on a video going over the whole like what is DeepSeek compared to Nvidia, what is all this? Because honestly, like I'd say I'm good with finance, but I'm really not that good with tech, even though I'm a huge tech investor. As well as fintech, right? Like I really want to learn more about tech, and if I'm ever wrong about something in a video, like please correct me because I want to learn. I'm not that good with tech, but I saw this comment on what happened to Nvidia, and people said, imagine shorting the shovel company when a record-breaking new gold mine was just discovered. So people are basically comparing. People have always compared Nvidia to like the picks and shovels, right? So like during the gold rush, people use this analogy that like the miners weren't making, they wouldn't make as much money as the people who were selling them like the pots and the pans and the picks and the shovels and whatever, right? So that's why they're calling Nvidia like the shovel maker, or you know what I mean, like the pickaxe maker. And he's saying, why would you short these companies when a new gold mine was just discovered, such as DeepSeek, right? So there's really realistically a flip side to this. Everyone's like worried about Nvidia, but think about it. If DeepSeek is an open source thing, people can learn from it and they can copy it. It's not like China just came up with something and they're like gatekeeping it. They're not gatekeeping it, right? Like we can learn from this. It's like AI is only going to get better. Like people think like, oh no, China's doing so much better than us, but no, they're not, right? It's like we're all we're all learning from each other. We're all getting better from each other. So realistically, I see the whole DeepSeek situation as an amazing thing, right? This is just going to help us expand and grow, and if we can do this at cheaper prices, so be it, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you can produce cars at a lower cost, you can sell more cars, right? Like, this is an amazing thing. Like, think about it. When the first computer was made, it was obviously super expensive, but were people getting so mad when someone was able to create a computer now for like 10 times cheaper? Like, no, they were really happy. They're like, oh, this is great, right? Like, do you think there's definitely been someone who's made a product that was similar to Apple but cheaper, right? But then Apple like learned from them. It's not like Apple was just like, oh, okay, you guys win, good job, right? So that's why I'm really honestly happy about this situation, because I feel like this is just going to promote more and more growth, right? It's like more and more competition. So yeah, I'm honestly really happy about all of this. I definitely took advantage of the dip on Monday. I think I bought shares. Yeah, I bought shares at like $117. So I am so hyped. I'm so pumped about that I was able to get. I got honestly a good amount of shares, but not too much, right? I was watching this video where the guy was like, the evil twin of buying the dip is FOMO, right? Like you don't want to like, oh my gosh, take out all your money, sell other stocks you own just so you could buy this dip. Like don't go overly crazy, but like you should be taking advantage of it, right? Like if a company that you love, right, drops like 17%, like you should be taking advantage, obviously. But yeah, as you can see, I'm very, I'm still bullish on AI. What happened on Monday realistically did not change any of my opinions. It just made me even more excited. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna take a sip. I got the coconut water. Anyway, so the next thing I want to talk about is like big tech earnings and just earnings in general. What's coming up? What's happening? So first of all, on Monday we had SoFi, right? Like that was SoFi and Nvidia. Those were the two big topics of Monday morning. And yeah, so, I woke up, I saw my two biggest positions, Nvidia down 17% and SoFi down another like 10 to 11%. I was like, oh my gosh, I just woke up, I was like, man, I was like, what? But at the same time, I was like, okay, I got to figure out what's going on, then I'll know whether to buy, right? Like, I don't just say like for Nvidia, I was like, okay, I gotta buy, I gotta buy. But like SoFi, I had to first do like research, right? Because obviously, listen, like I love SoFi, and if there's a dip, I'm gonna buy it. But when it's earnings, like, listen, if a company has really crappy earnings, they deserve to go down, and you know what I mean? I tell people, I'm like, okay, if the earnings of my company, they post terrible earnings, okay, like I deserve to lose money, like I deserve for my money to decline, like how much I have invested. So that's why I get really, I really have to do research on the earnings calls and like the income statement of a company as well as their balance sheet and cash flow before I invest more. But yeah, so basically what happened on Monday when SoFi dropped was, I'll just give you the main reason. It's because of EPS guidance, right? Their guidance was lower than expected. I don't know the exact values, but their guidance was a little bit lower than expected, and we're going to see how there's been a little pattern with this exact same thing. But the rest of their earnings were amazing, right? Their member count grew significantly, right? Like now they hit the 10 million member milestone, so that's amazing. They're slowly becoming one of the big dogs. That's awesome. As well as their total revenue just absolutely went up like crazy in this in the year. Yeah, so as well as their total number of products, and even the CEO Anthony Noto, he's like, 2024 was our best year. Like they have officially became profitable, right? Like they're having multiple quarters where they are profitable, right? Like this is the year 2024 was the year where they became profitable, and now we're getting consistent profitability. So I've been with SoFi since they were, they had like negative EPS, right? Like they were not even, profitable whatsoever, but I believed in the company, and look where we are today. So what I see is that, listen, this was an amazing buying opportunity that I had on Monday, right? And I'll tell you why. Because Anthony Noto, in a later interview, he said specifically, the reason the EPS guidance for the next couple quarters may be a little bit less this year is because they're going to spend more on investing in their own company, on like, for example, like research and development, right? So that might lead to technically a little lower net income. So basically, I like to think about it like this. Like, imagine your friend is like, okay, you know what? I might, this year I might, come out to parties a little bit less, and I might, hang out a little bit less. I might do this a little less because I'm going to be investing in myself. I'm going to be always just hitting the gym, always just, reading, learning online, paying attention, doing all my work. You know what I mean? Because I want to be investing in myself this year. So that's why you might see a little bit of a decline in like my presence. So I think that's amazing, right? If a company you are invested in and you love this company personally, when that company's investing in themselves, you have to be happy about it. You have to be like, okay, they know what they're doing now. They are profitable now. I fully trust what they're doing, because even he said in the conference call, he says he wants SoFi to become like a household name in the next couple years. So I really think that he can do it. I think that this is just a great idea in general. If I can get when I got these shares, I got them like a $14-15, something like that. Like, just give them to me. You know what I mean? And $14-15, if I was telling myself SoFi would be at this price like a year ago, I'd be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, right? Like, I would not be complaining whatsoever. Like, my shares are up insanely. I am not complaining whatsoever, right? Because I've been in SoFi since $8, right? So even going down to $15, like what? Like, that's amazing. All right, so next up was really today on Wednesday. We had Meta, Microsoft, and Tesla, right? And yeah, so I'm basically just going to quickly go over all three of them. So Meta did have better than expected earnings, right? Their EPS growth was much higher than it was, much higher than estimates. Their net income was up tremendously, and just as a whole, the company's doing well, especially with their Llama model. Their new LLM. Everything's been going great, right? But what happened was just like SoFi we just talked about a minute ago, their expected their guidance for their EPS was a little bit lower than analyst expectations. Yeah, so I did a quick little research on Yahoo Finance. It literally says Meta also declined to offer a full year revenue forecasting. We expect the investments we are making in our core business this year will give us an opportunity to continue delivering strong revenue growth throughout 2025. So doesn't this sound very similar to SoFi? I think so, right? So that's great to see. I'm very happy. You know, when a company is investing in themselves, I think that's great for the company long term. You know, I'm not planning to hold Meta for, you know, just a couple of weeks or months or, you know, something like this. Like I'm holding this for the next couple of years, right? Like at least like, you know, 5 to 10 years, something like this. So I'm happy, and just Meta in general. You know, funny enough, I made a video and it was a top 3 stocks to be buying before, you know, quarter 4 earnings. I had said, listen, I can imagine a universe where Nvidia gets disrupted, right, by something or, you know, another company, which is literally actually what happened on Monday, right? You know, there was a big scare that Nvidia was about to, like, oh my gosh, go out of business because of DeepSeek, right? Um, but I could never imagine that happening for a Meta, right? Like I can't imagine, you know, I'm in the video I said something like uh over like billions. I don't forgot like 6 billion out of the 8 billion people on Earth are using one of Meta's apps. So it's like I just can't see it being disrupted realistically. And yeah, so I just think, listen, if Meta, so right now it's Wednesday night, so I haven't yet seen the exact price that Meta's going to be at tomorrow, but if Meta does go down, I'm just going to pick it up, right? I'm just going to pick up more and more shares. I am just, listen, I'm investing for the long term. So if it does go down, I'm just happy, and I'm just happy, and just give me more shares. So another one of my big positions that had their earnings call today was Tesla, right? So this is actually one of the companies that actually did not do well. So in regards to financials, right? So yeah, the stock is probably gonna definitely drop tomorrow, and that's realistically because their revenue is, it says like they're well short of the 27.2 billion expected. Yeah, they net revenue 25.7 billion, which was short of the expected 27 billion. As well as their EPS, it came out to 0.73, which was less than Wall Street of 0.75. So yeah, and their operating income totaled 1.58 billion, which is down 23% since last year. So yeah, basically the main points, you know, Tesla's EPS is down. It was 5%, 5.7% miss than Wall Street, as well as the revenue, which is 5.69% miss. But as I'm reading here, it says in the shareholder presentation, Tesla said that it expects its auto business to return to growth in 2025. As well, Tesla said that its vehicle volume this year is expected to return to growth due to advancements in vehicle autonomy and the launch of new products. So that's a great thing to hear too. And what I was really happy about was that Elon Musk said that paid, unsupervised, full self-driving cars, you know, like a Waymo, is coming to Austin, Texas in June. So wow, that's quicker than most of us thought. And yeah, so I think it's realistically the same story here, where it's like, you know, even though they kind of missed their expectations, they have a lot coming planned in the future with the full self-driving, which I'm very happy about, as well as obviously, you know, I'm sure you heard in the news and just seen like Elon Musk, his relationship with Trump has been, you know, trending, and I think that's a very good thing, right? Like if the president is on your side. And I also just read Tesla said its operating income is negatively impacted by costs associated with artificial intelligence and other research and development projects, right? As well as lower average selling price for its current vehicles. But what I'm looking at is the other research and development projects, just like SoFi, just like Meta, right? So it's this interesting pattern where companies right now are investing more in like research and development. As you can see it, so I guess Tesla, you know, maybe they didn't have the best year, but listen, I'm still happy about it. I'm still bullish. It's one of the It's not the biggest position in my portfolio, but it's a position in my portfolio, Tesla. So listen, I'm just gonna keep investing. I don't think I'm gonna be buying head over heels like I am for like a SoFi or an Nvidia, but Tesla's definitely on my watch list. If we see like a big drop, coming tomorrow, in after hours it's up 4%. So I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna be a good day tomorrow, but listen, if it does drop like more than like 5, 6 something percent, right? Like I'm still gonna be buying more shares. So I actually haven't done too much research into Microsoft, as I actually don't own any shares of Microsoft at the moment. But I'm definitely still researching it. And yeah, so that was one of the earnings calls today in after hours. So yeah, but apparently, I guess, well, their earnings per share was up. It did beat estimates as well as their revenue, which also beat estimates by only a little bit though. So I think that's real. I think that's why price might drop tomorrow, because it just didn't beat by quite enough. I guess it's still not enough for Wall Street. Yeah, so what I'm reading is that their cloud computing service, the Azure, it did not hit analyst expectations. The change in revenue year over year was 19% rather than 19.6% average estimate based on the analysts. So that might have been a problem, but otherwise, like, percentage change in revenue year over year, 12% versus analyst 10.9%. The productivity and business processing percent change in revenue year over year, 14% versus analysts 11.6%. And yeah, so productivity and business processes like what? LinkedIn revenue from LinkedIn. Oh yeah. These are all beats. Everything else is a beat except for the Azure, their cloud computing service, which is basically one of the biggest competitors of AWS. If you saw my last video, the top three stocks. So yeah, I guess it's just a little bit of a speed bump. It might just not be enough for Wall Street, but listen, I still don't see a huge catalyst for buying Microsoft in 2025. I'm not saying it's a bad company, obviously. I think it's a great company. And if you have your reasons to buy it, go for it, right? Take advantage of these opportunities. But listen, at some point, it's like, you can't own every single stock. If you own every single stock, you're going to get like 0.1% gain at the end of the year, right? So, I always say stick with like, I'd say honestly now, I used to say 5 to 10 stocks, but I would say honestly more like get like 10 to 15 or like 7 to 15 ish. I think that's a good range. But like if you're buying more than 15 stocks, then that's like even 15 might be a lot, but like I'd say 7 to 10 honestly, like that's a great number. Like if like seriously, like if you're in the 20s, 30s, how much stocks you own, like that's insane. Like you're seriously, like what are you doing, right? Like just as you might as well just buy an exchange. Like just buy an exchange trade fund. So yeah, right now, my portfolio has obviously taken a hit just like many other investors, but although this is probably my second year investing, being a long-term investor, I've seen many times where things exactly like this happened. And I can recall, in August when my portfolio took a great hit. I remember there was some people were saying, oh my gosh, it might be a recession, oh my gosh, stocks are dropping. But yeah, and I remember I was really worried, but at the same time I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna be fine. I'm a long-term investor, and look where I am now. So like, if you were to be investing in the stock market since August, you'd be pretty happy right now. So my advice right now would just be continue to look, pay attention to the earnings of all the stocks that are in your portfolio. This is really where, you either put up or shut up, right? Like if you're investing in a company and you want to know, okay, are they actually, doing well, right? Like is their revenue, is their net income increasing? Is their EPS increasing? Is their total amount of customers and products they're selling increasing? This is where you're going to find out. And this is where you're going to get a lot of insight from the CEO and their management in general. So you're going to find out, on the conference calls, what are the changes they're going to be making in their business and whatnot, right? So this is really where you got to pay attention. Start researching, go on Yahoo Finance, literally just go on Yahoo Finance, search up whatever company, right? Like let's say Amazon, right? Obviously Amazon's earnings are not yet. I think it's next week, but like, yeah, you like search up, you go on the news, you see what people are saying, and you decide, okay, is this a buying opportunity? If If you're very confident about a company and let's say their earnings call is not good enough for Wall Street and their stock dips, I'd say it's a buying opportunity. Listen, if you're buying long term and you see a vision for this company in the future, listen, take advantage. Take advantage right now. And, with regards to options, I would say right now, I'd say wait till your company or whatever company you want to buy options on is, done, had their conference call. And if they're having great numbers and their CEO is specifically saying, yes, in the next couple quarters, we're gonna, we're expected to see some crazy, growth, and we have a lot of things planned. I would say that's when you want to buy leap options. Obviously, don't be betting on these like earnings calls like with these like short term options. Don't do that. That's stupid. I'd say wait till your company has a conference call or their earnings call, and wait till maybe like the smoke clears, like what I did on SoFi, and go ahead and buy some leaps. If you're confident, go for it. I'd say right now I'm super bullish. I would tell anybody to start if you want to start investing. Perfect time right now. You know what I mean? Anytime's a perfect time to start investing, but now more than ever. You know what I mean? So I'm just telling you, right now is the perfect time, and just don't let these opportunities pass, because you're gonna watch it pass, and in a couple months from now you're gonna be like, man, I should have started investing. So don't let this opportunity pass. And yeah, so good luck to everybody in the market right now, and let's see what happens. So peace out and see you.